This video will be a guide on how to become sub 20 on Square-1. In the first part of this video, I'll be doing critiques on 3 solves from 3 different cubers, each having a different average, but still all being above 20 seconds. After these critiques, I'll be wrapping everything up with some final thoughts, and I'll be showing a few example solves that are sub 20, and I'll be showing why they are sub 20. So your biggest problem during this cube shape is definitely going to be your finger tricking and your rotations. So a huge mistake is to do something like this and then start with slicing on the left, which is definitely not good. Another thing is to never rotate during cube shape. That's always not the greatest idea. And definitely don't want to rotate like this way either. That's really unnecessary during Square-1 because it has only 2 axes. All I have to do is focus on those 2 and you can just do the whole solve gripless. So the main thing is you should try to force yourself to always hold the cube in this position with your thumb here, middle finger here, and the short part here, and always turn the right slice top and bottom. And even though I know cube shape, it is a bit difficult to visualize some pieces and it's easier to do a left slice, but for the long run it's better to remove that bad habit and just focus on getting this grip down. Alright, another thing is to inspect just a bit longer. You didn't take that much inspection time. So in general for CS, at your time range, I would say you should be able to do CS in 2 looks. So one look to get like close to scalp kite, second look to get into scalp kite, and then solve it from there. So pretty much try to take a bit of extra time during your inspection to try to get CS. Maybe look ahead to 2 to 3 slices and see what we can do from there. Alright, now for the actual execution, there's a few things you can do here. If you want to stick with scalp kite, there's a 6 slice solution which is a bit better than 7. So just insert this edge here on top to make the 4. Insert the L, and then take these down, and you got scalp kite there. But a bit more advanced solution is one less slice, and basically you're gonna bring these up to create the L and this. One more slice to bring it to pawn. That's a bit more advanced, but that is the optimal way to do that. So CL, EL were pretty good other than the rotation of course, but for CP wasn't that great, so what we did was you kind of did a Y2 after you got into CP. Definitely not a great habit to have. You can definitely recognize the CP looking from the front, and of course you don't want to rotate because that slows your solve down. So here's a bit of a tip that might help. If you ever have opposite colors, for example blue and green, and on bottom here blue and green, on the corners in the front, that means opposite of that is going to be your solve corners. So for here, opposite here, that means solved is here. So here, opposite here, that means the solved corners will be back here. So from here, you can look at these, opposite, go straight into CP without rotating or anything. Lastly for EP, you got some kind of edge U-perm. I'm not sure which one, but it doesn't really matter. So if you want to get faster, my recommendation is to learn all the edge U-perms. They are kind of long algs, but I think they're pretty helpful and they come up pretty often actually. So if you don't want to learn those algs, here's the best way to do it. So find this opposite edge and then switch it with the center edge from the U-perm, and then switch it with the edge on top. So do edge like this, and that reduces to the single edge. So if it's on top, just definitely do the alg, but if it's on bottom, definitely don't do this rotation to solve it. Instead, you can bring it to the back here, do one slice to bring it to the top, do the Parity alg, and then pretty much you get one more slice to solve it. So again, slice, Parity, and then another slice to bring it back down. So that solves the edge, Parity, and bottom with a bit of extra moves, but it is faster than just rotating. For your second solve, your CS was pretty clean, but there's one thing you can improve, I think. So here you did something like U and then D2 to set it up into this case. What you could do here is actually something like this. Do a rotation like this, and now you don't have to do D2, you can just go ahead and do D prime and then go like that to get into the same position. So always want to consider your axes, so if the slice is not flipped, you can always do this. And if the angle isn't great, you can always switch to this angle and see if it's any better. If the slice is flipped, however, you can always go ahead and solve it from here. If the angle's not great, you can always try this angle to see if it's any better. Alright, for CO, it was pretty simple. It's just a 3-slice case, but what you did here is you actually did something like down slice, then up. If I got a case like that, I would definitely want to do something regripless, so something like this. So don't repeat any slices like down, down. Instead, you can kind of go like this, and you can solve a case like that. Another huge thing is that you use the white top, I'm pretty sure, but you solve the yellow top anyway. But what you should be doing is consistently solving white top during CO, because that is better. So you don't have to do the side flip at the end. But for here, I would put white on the left, and then I'll do the same thing you did. So like that, and it puts the white on top immediately during CO. For CPEP, nothing much to say here. You got pretty lucky. You got JJ into Aj. But of course, you don't want to do this rotation. This is not great. So during CP or EP, don't do that. So otherwise, everything seems fine to me. So this next CS was also not that bad, but there's a few things you can improve. So first off, you did this and you kind of paused. And of course, during inspection, you don't want to just look for one slice. You want to do at least two. So from here, inspection, I would see that these two would go up here. This would be down here. So that means to make the other case, I would have to bring the 4 here, bring this L back up. So during inspection, I should get at least 2 slices down so I can go straight into this. Then notice this scalp kite. So yeah, pretty much use your inspection just a bit more. So seal EO wasn't that bad, got lockup, but there's nothing you can really do there, but finger tricks are okay for that. For CPEP though, of course you don't want to rotate, but whatever. For this case, you did something like this for execution. Instead, what you should do is be consistent with your grip. So the whole solve, if you had this kind of grip, you don't want to switch suddenly to this kind of grip. So you can do either this, to push in your index, or do something like this. But pretty much just try to get your positioning the exact same, like this, and not doing like these flick moves. I do have a video tutorial on pretty much all my finger tricks, so if you want to check it out, it should be in the description. Lastly, for EP, it was pretty good. M2 to M2, I would have done the same thing. But for this case, obviously you already know now that you can just bring this up and then do parity here. And then bring it back down with one slice. So overall, what should you do? So a huge pro, I think, is that your EO algs are actually pretty nice. You're doing them regripless and pretty smoothly, which is always great. But what you want to do is continue that smoothness in your other algs as well. For example, JN. Don't really do this, but you can continue doing this kind of turning. And also J, something like that isn't the best, but you can do something like this. So try to keep your thumb and rest of your fingers like this, and you should be great. Also, again, don't rotate. Rotating's a bit of a problem, so don't get that bad habit where you rotate right after CP or EP or during CS. Just always keep it in the same grip. Just force yourself to do that and you should get better. And lastly, of course, you can learn some EP algs. Brandon has a pretty good video with a few good ones that all beginners should know, and I'll link that in the description. I think those are pretty useful to know. So yeah, I think your turning's pretty good. There's a few things you can work on, but overall, I think you're set to get sub 20. Alright, for the skip chip, you had a decent solution, something like this, scalp kite. So you definitely want to work on your pauses during CS. you should be able to look ahead to 2 slices during CS. So here, there's a goal up here, create an L, bring this to left, bring it down, and then scalp height. So yeah, it should be pretty quick and smooth, and not having a pause in between. It's pretty unnecessary. Also for this case, it's a pretty easy solution. All I have to do is bring this down and you get the shield square, so that's pretty useful to know. Also, your CS execution is kind of weird. You're kind of using this grip where you click like this for your moves, which is not that great for the Square-1. Again, you want to be using this kind of technique where you hold your thumb and your fingers on layers like this, and that will make your solves a bit more smooth. Again, I have a video on how to finger trick like this, so you do want to avoid finger tricking like this and go more like this for Square-1. Alright, for CO, just 2 things you definitely don't want to do. First is pause during CO. CO is always like 3 slices at max, so you never want to pause during that. Second of all is doing lefty moves. Of course, it is not that necessary. You can always just hold your left hand in a death grip kind of, and then only turn on the right slice. So over here, instead of doing something like this and then lefty turning or whatever, look once, got this here, these two, go straight into it. So again, during EO, your turning is an issue. You're turning pretty fast, but you're not turning correctly. You should be turning like this while turning the slices, so you never regrip. Not exactly sure what EO alg use, but these are 4 slices and you should be doing them relatively quick. And you kind of did this kind of style of turning, which is really bad. Instead, you can kind of do a gripless, and you'll notice that your solves are going to be much faster using these EO algs. Your CP finger trick was a lot better. You're holding it like this, alternating, so it's gripless, so that's nice. But of course, you do want to try to avoid the pause during CP. So again, same trick, opposite, means solid at the back. For the EP, you kind of paused quite a bit too, which is kind of confusing because it's pretty clear what it is, at least to me. You have 2 solids here and opposites here, so it's pretty clear that you have op-op, but it did take you a while to recognize this. But a quick trick is that from CP you can kind of notice that there's going to be 2 blocks here. Maybe you didn't see this, but the bomb also has 2 blocks, so you should know immediately after doing CP that you get a 2-edge case from here. Also, your execution was a bit off. You did M2 U2 M2, and then you did the bar flip, which is I think 7 slices, and that's way too much for that simple alg. So first off, op with bar flip is pretty simple. Just do this out. Again. That solves op in 3 slices, and it flips the bar. But if you are going to do this op thing, and you don't want to do the other thing, which you should be doing, definitely cancel into the bar flip instead of doing it and then canceling. You should definitely do something like this, op and then cancel into the bar flip. So again, you don't want to do op and then the bar flip. Do op and then the last move, cancel into the bar flip. That's gonna make yourselves a lot cleaner. So for CS, there's not much to say. Again, just focus on your finger tricks, doing something like this, and looking ahead 2 slices during CS. So 2 slices, go straight into the CS. Next for here, obviously you want to do the execution a bit more smooth, but another thing is that you have a yellow top, I believe, and you're solving white top, which is a mistake I mentioned in the other solve, which is not good. So instead what you should do here is, first slice is fine, but in the second slice just do something like this to get your yellow top. So again, first slice is fine, second slice, get the yellow top, because that's what you should be doing. For EO, you did your AUG kind of weird. It's not the greatest AUG. Definitely learn full EO if you want to get better. I don't think there's much to say there really. Learn full EO and learn the correct finger tricks there. CP, same thing. Recognize CP a bit better. For the EP though, you got a U-perm, and I think what we did was something like this. JN and then JN again, which is way too many moves. If you are going to do JN, definitely don't do it like this. You locked up quite a bit, and that's partially because the finger trick's not that great. What you want to do is hold it like this. Again, something like this, with this kind of turning, which is much better. Here's a few things you can do. First off, you can learn it out for this case, which goes like this. If that's too long for you, another thing you can do is something like this, JJ, and then JJ again. Final thing you can do here is do edge, 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 edge. So lots of things you can do here, but definitely don't do that Jan thing. That's kind of slow. So for CS, definitely don't do left slice. That's really bad. Instead, what you do here is something like this to solve the kite with the right slice. And also, you should be seeing that whole thing in inspection and not doing one slice and then looking ahead for that. For CO, EO, CP, it's pretty much everything I said already, like finger tricks, work on that. And your EO AUG was kind of bad too, so learn better AUGs. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it could be better, so learn the proper AUGs for that. And then finally for EP, you did M2 to M2, which is eh. What we should be doing here for op O is look at the direction of the O, it's going clockwise, so we're going to move the D layer counterclockwise, so M2 counterclockwise, M2 counterclockwise, M2. That's how we solve the op O, which is 6 slices, which is really good. So overall, I think your turning's pretty fast, above normal actually, but there's a few things you can improve. First off, your turning style should be improved. You should be doing more of these kind of moves, like this, and less of this kind of style of turning. Secondly, you want to learn better AUGs, so example, op O, and some other EO cases, you definitely want to learn them. Learn the correct AUGs from fast cubers, and learn to execute them correctly, so that you don't have to regrip. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You're pretty set to becoming a sub 20. Just work on those few things and you should be fine. For your CS, you did something like this. You brought this up to make scalp kite, but then what you did here is kind of rotate it to solve it from this angle, which is not really that great. So a few things you can do here. So instead, what you can do is like this, and learn this out for this case, and goes like this. That's gonna make yourselves a lot better. So definitely know CS cases from different angles. So from front, from back, this one goes like this. You also want to know the ones that are flipped as well. So this one goes like this. You should know that for pretty much all your CS cases, like know them from different angles. If you don't want to deal with that, with this case, what you can do is do a Y2 and do a slice, and there's your better angle scalp height if you really wanted to. CO and EO seem fine to me. One thing for EO though is you kind of like looked at the bottom twice for EO, and maybe that's just a hesitation or whatever, but you should, during EO, just look at the bottom once and then do the EO AUG. But for CP, here you kind of had a pause. Again, the trick with the opposite of that is the soft corners. Definitely use that one. Another suspicion I might have about you pausing is because you want to look for the blocks. Something that might help is that if you align one block, you're good to go. So don't ever worry about aligning more than one block. When you align one block, that's all you need to do. Maybe you're looking for the top layer, but there's no blocks here. But if you're looking at the bottom layer, trying to look for more than one block to preserve, just don't worry about it. Just see the block here in the front and just do it from here. Next for EP, you did M2 to M2, which is alright, but I would prefer to do the 3 slicer, but I don't know, that's you. And then for the U-perm, you did the U-perm, and you did not cancel the bar flip, and then you did the bar flip after. What you should do is cancel the bar flip with every EP alg that you have. It is a bit hard at first, but you have to get into the habit of canceling every time for every alg. Not just like the Parity alg or whatever, but for Edge, U-perm, pretty much every alg you should be able to cancel the bar flip. So your CS case was not that great, which is understandable why you paused a bit there. But what you should be able to do is something like this. But for this case, instead of doing a D2, you can go ahead and make the square like this. And then you get square shield. So you don't have to do that D2. Also, I may as well show you the optimal way of solving it is something like this. You kind of make this case, and then connect them again. And down again and get the scab scallop. For EOCO, not really any huge problems there. Few things though. First off, you don't want to hesitate again. Looking at the bottom twice, you only need to do that for one step. You also want to avoid doing D moves with your right hand. The reason why is because that's going to be a regrip from here to here, back to here. That's way too much. You can do a few things though. You can go like this and push it like that. Or something with your thumb. But pretty much don't regrip through those D moves. It's not great. So like your last solve, your CP got a bit of a pause, but I already mentioned that. But for EP, you got op edge. So a few things you can do here. First off, you can learn the alg for this, which I don't really like that much. So here's the second thing you can do. This is actually much more intuitive as well. What we do is you set up the op next to each other, and you want to preserve these. So put these next to each other, like that. And from here, go ahead and do an edge to solve the bottom edge and the top edge. Because we turned the op into an edge. So edge. Move it back. From here, just undo those moves. So again, put these next to each other, and then do the edge. Undo the moves, and that's how you can solve op edge. For the CS, you did something like this for a scalp kite, which is not actually that bad, but a better solution would be something like this: one slice into pawn. There's not much to say about the rest of the solve, pretty much. CO, EO, again, don't hesitate, just do everything in one look. Look once, and then do the alg. Look once, and then do the alg. And don't hesitate, really. CP, again, don't pause. And then another mistake with EP was not canceling into the bar flip. So again, you definitely want to always cancel your bar flip with every alg that you do. So overall, I think your main advantage is that your turning is really smooth. You're doing this alternating slice thing really well, which allows you for much better TPS. But there are a few things you can work on. So for CS, you should learn some cases from multiple angles, for example, scalp kite. You know from this angle, which is obvious, but you should also know from this angle, maybe from the back as well. So definitely know cube shape from multiple angles. This will help you a lot in the long run. Your CO and EO is pretty fine, but work on your hesitations a bit. So you don't want to look at the bottom twice or anything, just look at it for half a second and then do the alg. During EO though, you want to look into CP. This will help your pause during CP be much better. During EO, look at the corners and their positions, and you can kind of tell what your CP is going to be from there. During CP, just try to look ahead and preserve one block from both layers. That's all you need to do. Your EP seems pretty fine as well, just another problem with pausing. One thing you can do is look ahead during CP into EP. So during CP, you kind of know with what blocks you preserve, which parts will be solved during EP, and you can kind of tell what kind of EP you're going to get during CP. Because you know any blocks you preserve will be solved, and what you have left is the EP case you get. Also, you definitely want to cancel the bar flip. This is a huge bad habit a lot of people get. So whenever you're at the last step and you know you have to flip the bar, definitely just cancel that bar flip. And definitely don't get in the bad habit of solving the cube, realizing the bar is flipped, and then doing the bar flip. That just wastes way too much time. Alright, lastly for the general tips for people who are trying to get sub 20, there's 3 main mistakes that I've seen people make. First off is turning. You definitely want to be using this kind of style of turning where you alternate your slice like this. It's going to allow for much faster TPS in your turning. You don't really want to be doing this kind of thing. It's just not that great. And also stuff like rotations and stuff like this and stuff like that. That's generally going to slow your solves down, so don't do that kind of stuff. Next mistake is going to be your pauses. So a lot of people have tons of pauses when they're trying to get sub 20. For cube shape, don't inspect for like 1 second. Make sure you're using an inspection time to see as far as you can. In general, you don't want to pause at all, but if you have a pretty bad case, you can always pause 1 time, but don't pause more than 1 time. That's just unnecessary. COEO should be 1 quick pause, half a second, look at the bottom, and then do your AUG. You shouldn't be looking at the bottom twice or having any hesitations. It should be look at the top, bottom, do the AUG. It should be really fast. During EO, look at the CP so you minimize the pause. CP, find the block quickly from the top and bottom layer that you want to preserve, and then just do the AUG quickly without pausing. Most of the pauses will happen during EP, so here's a few tips. First off, you don't want to evaluate each layer by themselves. So you shouldn't be looking at the top for the EP and then bottom for the EP. You should be doing EP as the whole cube, so not just looking at 1 layer at a time. Another huge thing is to look at during CP. Look at what blocks are preserved. I'm just going to show you how many edges are going to be solved at that layer. So lastly, execution. That's the last mistake I see a lot. So during CP and EO, those are just spam of AUG. You should definitely know all the AUGs, and that's not really a big problem. Cube shape is a bit of a problem though. You want to know some cases from multiple angles, so from the front and the back. That's definitely very important. You also want to know the mirrors from the slices, so you don't have to rotate to solve them. So you should start expanding a bit beyond scallop kite by now. So stuff like pawn, there's a lot of cases that lead to this, and that's actually pretty useful to know. EP also, there's a lot of AUGs that a lot of people don't know. Stuff like op, this one. This is pretty important, and a lot of people don't actually know this one. Also stuff like edge and bottom, the 1 slice, the parity, and then under that slice. That's really important to know. Also stuff like edge in the front that can help with some U2D2s. So there's like various EP and CS techniques that you should know. I do have a huge video of 100 tips for Square-1. It has a lot of tips for EP and lots of tips for CS. So definitely check that video out. I will leave it in the comments. It's a really good video. It has over 100 tips for Square-1. But in those tips, there's a lot of really great tips for EP and CS. So to end this video off, I'll be showing 3 example solves of my own. They're all sub 20, and it should show an example of how sub 20 solves should look like. So the cube shape was done pretty well here. There's no pauses really during the whole cube shape, and it flowed really smoothly with the finger tricking. Remember that at this time range, you should be having pretty much no pauses during cube shape, or at most 1 for bad cases. The CO and EO is pretty good. There's no hesitation during the pause, just 1 pause and then do the AUG. Another really important thing is that these AUGs are done really smoothly, without regrips or anything like that. So the AUG is pretty smooth here, but the more important thing is that during EO, I looked ahead to the CP. This allowed a very smooth transition between EO and CP. I also recognized the blocks pretty quickly. I saw them in the front and I immediately aligned them to preserve the blocks. Here's a pretty good ending. I didn't notice AUG, so I used the optimal way of solving this with edge, and then edge on the bottom. I also canceled the bar flip so I wouldn't have to do it after the solve. I won't be commentating on the rest of these solves, but it should be pretty self-explanatory on what I did right to get sub 20. You can feel free to compare these solves with your own to see what you're doing right or wrong. But other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. Please leave any questions in the comments below, and I'll be trying my best to answer all of them. Also, if you have some solves that you would like me to critique, be sure to leave that in the comments below as well. I can't guarantee doing another video critique for you, but I can try my best to help you and reply with some tips. So yeah, thanks for watching, hope this was helpful.